how do you feel about your journey and what exactly you think that what is left I want to do? What kind of feeling about your dreams and your passion? Well, this film I'm working on now, it's a real life story about an Indian man, okay, who was born in the 30s, who died tragically very young, but he's an unsung hero and an absolute legend that belongs to us, the Indian community in South Africa. I have the good fortune of being able to tell his story.
Hi, this is Prishika Goswami and you are watching OWN Star Chronicles. So this is the place where stars are going to share their story by their own experiences. And today we have very young, very beautiful and international star. She is doing very well in humanitarian ground also, and she is doing very well in Netflix also. So we are going to meet today Tarina Patel. Welcome, Tarina.
Thank you. How are you? I'm good. How are you? Very good. Thank you so much for coming in our show. Pleasure. I'm so happy to be here. So, you have like very wide career and you are into very various kind of fields. Like you only in acting, if I say in entertainment industry especially. So you tried acting, you are in production, and you are hosting. So how these various things are attracting you and how you're maintaining everything? Like, I mean, I think it's really simple. If you look at all of it, it kind of all belongs in one family. It's very much the concept of storytelling. And I believe that everything that I do has a story and story that propels me to do what I do. And I feel like everything is literally an extension of me. It's an extension of who I am. Everything happens very organically. You know, I love life. I'm a celebrator of life and the adventures and experiences of life. And everything I do is indicative of that very celebration. So, you know, creating this masterpiece of a home is an extension of me, and it's a storytelling process of how it came to be. The kinds of, in the most obvious way, the kinds of stories I'm telling is storytelling in its most obvious way. But the book I'm coming out with is an extension of my storytelling, of leaving a legacy, of making your mark in the world, of celebrating who you are, where you come from, and just like I feel like every day opportunities come knocking on your door, and I'm very much rooted in the present. I'm very much rooted in what's happening around me. I'm conscious, I'm aware of what's happening around me. And like, why not? You know, if I've been blessed enough to have these opportunities, I don't want to close the door. I want to try my best to avail of all the opportunities that come my way and, just to have fun in the process. That's wow. So, you was part of Pfizer, right?
Listen.
Yes. Sorry. So, in Netflix, you was doing as a executive producer. So, how was the experience with that? Like, it's a worldwide thing. Built relationships with them, and I feel sad that the rest of my family in South Africa might not have done that because maybe they weren't exposed or maybe they weren't interested. But I feel richer that I have embraced everything about my forefathers, about my culture, about India. I feel very blessed. So, like being in a profession in acting, earlier you chose to be a psychological student, like you was in psychology. So, how was the experience of that? And have you been ever imagined that if you are by profession in that profession, not in acting, what do you do actually? Yeah, wow. Listen, I have no regrets. I have absolutely no regrets about these choices I've made. My father was a great doctor, a very, very, very brilliant doctor in South Africa. And I guess I just wanted to be like him. I wanted to emulate him. He was my role model. He was my world. He was my universe. He was my absolute everything. So I think that as a young girl, the kind of relationship I had with my father, I wanted to follow in his footsteps. So he came to India to medical school. So I too wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a psychiatrist. I always knew that the kind of medicine that I wanted to practice was psychology. And so I came to India. I went to medical school in India. And then I went back to South Africa and I did my honors in clinical psychology. I may not practice it in your traditional sense, in an office, the couch, and a lot of one on ones and a lot of counseling. But believe me, I practice it every day in life. Okay. The kind of environments you find yourself in, the kinds of things you find yourself doing. It's really important that you're able to kind of manage, right, the environment, manage people around you, but also very important is to manage yourself within those environments. And I feel like psychology has given me that kind of foundation. Not only psychology, but having a strong family support system, having a strong role model in my father, in my grandmother, kind of having a solid foundation is key. And then to top it up, having the academics, understanding, the mentality of people, understanding, the clinical analogies, understanding behavioral psychology, just understanding developmental of yourself and of others, like understanding the overview of psychology has been so valuable to keep me sane, to keep me optimal, to keep me functional, to keep me, I guess, at my best.
So somehow it's made you what you are today,
Yeah,
right?
yes.
So how was your father's illness change your life? Like you also inaugurated your father's foundation, right?
Yes.
Dr. Ramabhai.
Yes, I wanted to continue the good work that my father had done. I mean, for over 5 decades, he served the disadvantaged, the underprivileged communities in South Africa. And he did such incredible work, and I don't want the legacy to end with him. That's why I started the foundation in his name to continue good work.
Right.
But I think my father, was a role model in showing me how to execute an, an exemplified life. He showed me the right way. He showed me the right path, not because he taught me this verbally, but because he showed me in the way he lived his life. And my father lived a very simple life with a very set standard of ideals, of values, of principles. And I can say he led the most exemplary, perfect life. He was adored and loved by everyone. There's no one that he would have done wrong or done down. And to go through your life into your 70s, never having harmed anyone, I think is outstanding. He was so wise, yet so simple. Um, he could dine with kings and queens, and he could sit with a beggar and give each one the same level of respect. That's wow. He loved unabashedly. He
I
loved.
definitely was in heaven.
Oh yes, there's so many like pundits and gurus and blessed people that I meet, and I feel so grateful that I meet these people because I'm fascinated by them. And every single one of them has said to me, "Your father's not with you, but he's with you. Yes, we see him, we sense him, he's always with you, but he's reached moksha." And it's kind of sad for me because I am raised our guardian angel. Now he's my guardian angel, but I feel sad because I'll never see him in this human form. But I guess the trade-off is that he's my guardian angel and he always will be, and I don't have to yearn for him to be with me to experience this or that,
Right.
because he is with me all the time. And we are souls having this human experience, and as a soul he's having every kind of experience, and you know he deserves it because he was that human being that was just the epitome of kindness, yes, and generosity and good, and purity, innocence, just everything. He was all of that.
So with Dr. Ramabhai Patel Foundation, you are taking his legacy forward, right?
Yes, I mean, I'd like to think so. It's my intention.
No, you are doing so many things for humanitarian ground. So I was very amazed, like how you're maintaining like your homely feeling when you are actually traveling internationally, India, then South Africa. How you're feeling that okay, I am in home. Wow, like this is very tough.
No, I mean, I'm at home right now. I feel comfortable to exercise. I feel comfortable with you. And I feel like I'm not attached to the geography of. Okay, I'm not attached to the four walls of a home that I created. I feel I feel at home and comfortable wherever I am. Last year, 2024, I think I spent 7 weeks in South Africa. Okay. And I was literally all over. I was all over Europe. I was all over Europe, and I went to crazy places like Croatia and Slovenia, and obscure places like that. No, it's not on everybody's to-do list. But I went to beautiful places like Morocco and Lebanon and Iran, Korea. Again, off the beaten path. I spent so much of time kind of living all over the world. And I swear, everywhere I went, I felt like, I'm so comfortable here. I could live here. This could be my home. And I think that I've curated a life where everywhere I go, I've got interesting people that I spend time with, that I feel are like family, friends like family. There's this beautiful philosophy in Hinduism, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, where the whole world is your family. And I feel like that, like we're meeting today, but I feel like, you're my sister. We can sit and chat for hours. You can happily come and live in my home. I would feel comfortable to spend more time with you. You're so welcome in my home. Thank you, and I'll come. And definitely you get. And it's like, the more time you spend with yourself, you find that you can blend anywhere you go. Nice friends that become your family anywhere you go, and that's your home for that time. And look, we're all here in the world on a temporary basis. If you think about it, we're nothing but a blip, literally a blip. So, if that blip is 80 years or 100 years, what is that month in that blip, or what is that week in that blip? It's literally a blip of a blip, right? Yes. So, if you look at the expanse of what you think your life is and what it really means in the greater scheme of things, you can't sweat the small stuff. You can't be attached to the geography of a home. You can't be attached to anything. You just got to keep it, like energy flows. I want to just keep flowing. I want to just keep going and flowing and experiencing, and I feel like in my purpose of my life, to be a storyteller, to experience life, and to have this adventure of life, I just I wanna keep going and experience more and just keep experiencing, because that's how I see this journey of this life. Do you feel your study in psychology and your spiritual beliefs makes you like this, the way you are thinking? I don't know what came first. I don't know if my awareness like suddenly dawned upon me and then I realized I think I'm on a spiritual journey, or did I sort of embark on a spiritual journey and then realize that this is who I am. I don't know what came first. I don't care what came first. I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. I just want to enjoy the experience. I want to enjoy the fact that I get to spend time with Satguru. I get to spend time with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I get to spend time with Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. I get to spend time with all these incredible people and so many in between. Now, how is it that I'm that blessed to be able to spend time with them? I feel like there must be a greater responsibility on me because I'm blessed in that way. So I don't want to take the blessings and just leave it at that. I want to take and let it empower the work I do. So that's why I feel even more fueled to tell important stories, to impact the world. Right. Because I have this blessing, because I am fortunate to engage with people that can take my thought process, my consciousness, my awareness to another level. Very true. Like even being a part of the Kumbh, just being a part of Mahashivratri and being here, in these powerful zones, in these energized in these energized spaces. It's like it's gotta mean something. You gotta do something with it. What are you gonna do with it? So, when I have seen those footages, those beautiful footages of Mahakam, oh my God. How was the experience? So, you are meeting people, taking grip and discussing things with those sadhus and all. I was just thinking, wondering what exactly you're talking about. I want to know. Oh my God. So, I mean, like I said to you earlier, it all just happened so organically but so quickly. And I was in India. I had just come from Gujarati and I'd gone to the Kamakya Devi Mandir over and I'd spent like a whole day. I'd done so many pujas and this is what I wanted, you know. I wrapped up my 24 saying, I want to go to Gujarat. And I went to the most magnificent place called the Woods in Sasan in Gir. Okay. And again, you know, back to my roots. And I really wanted, after that manic 2024, I wanted just peace and calm. And I wanted to be, you know, earthing. And I want to walk barefoot. And I want to be in the trees. And I want to hug trees. And I want to meditate. And I wanted to do sound healing. And this really dear friend of mine created this 7-star luxury, quiet luxury, very peaceful, very calm space, okay, called the Woods in Sasan, in Gir. And, you know, being African, you know, I love the wildlife. And the only other place that you get the Asiatic lions is in Gir. And so to go and spend time with them. And then also there's this beautiful community of Africans that moved to Gujarat many, many years ago. And I wanted to spend time with them because they look African, you know, like my fellow Africans back home, but they speak Gujarati. They've ingratiated their way into Gujarati society. They speak Gujarati, they practice Gujarati methodologies, they eat Gujarati food. So all of these things I really wanted to experience. And then I start the new year of 25 going to Guwahati. And then I feel like it was just organic that the Kumbh is on. I'm still in India, and a friend of mine gives me this gift of going to the Kumbh. And everything was arranged. So it all kind of happened very quickly. I understood the power of being there, that it happens after 144 years. Yeah. And it speaks to your karma, undoing the karma of this life and your previous lives. Right. And I'm sure I've covered a lot of karma. And I was like, I've got to eradicate all of that. I want to eradicate it from my forefathers, for my ancestors. And you know, there's so much science and maths, yes, that Hinduism is about. It is down to a science. Very about astrology, is about numerology. It is about those particular locations. It is about, you know, the collective mass energy and the collective vibrations. Because when I went to the Ganga Aarti in Varanasi, I felt it, where everything came down to a slow movement, where I felt my senses being amplified. I felt like I was in the present for the first time in my life. So I became so aware and I became convinced and I became a complete kind of pioneer about the fact that this is how it is and this is how it works. So it's happening now and you can be there. You've got to be there. You've got to physically be present. And again, like I say, I'm blessed to be able to experience it. There were so many people that tried that it just somehow didn't work. And I felt like if I'm meant to be there, I'm going to be there. And when I got there, you know, I arrived very late at night. And some people met me on arriving in Prayagraj. And they said to me, look, Tarina, we welcome you. We're going to take you to your tent. Everything was so luxurious and everything was so effortless and seamless. And they said to me, you know, the CM made an announcement that he will be arriving and he will take his snan in the same ghat that you're going to. And I go, oh my God, I'm only here for a day. What does that mean? You know, I know that in India, things get cordoned off. Things are very like systematic. And Prayagraj particularly is so used to huge numbers, an influx of people that they're very organized. So I said, oh, what does that mean for me? So they said, look, don't worry, relax. He's taken the 6 to 9 slot. So you could either take before 6, but this is 1 a.m. And I'm like, oh my God, no, it's freezing. It's freezing cold. My biggest fear is the cold. And I'm like, it's freezing. I can't take before 6, but I can take after 9. And so that's how it worked out. I went to my tent, had a couple of hours of sleep. The team woke me up, got me ready. I was there at 8 o'clock before 8. And fortunately, our beloved CM did his thing and was out by 8ish. I got into my car. We went to the VIP guard. Everything was perfect. I literally had to get out of my car and walk 5 meters to the boat, and everything was cleared out. Everything was cleared out because of the CM's visit. And so everything was so effortless and perfect for me. And I get into my boat and we go to my guard. And like I said, there was no one. It was just clear. And I was like, is this the right place? Because where are the people? Am I at the right place? And they're like, yes, ma'am, this is the right place. This is the VIP. And I was like, well, where are the others? Like, where are the other people? The lines that I couldn't see them. And then I get into into the water. It was cold. And honestly, my biggest fear is cold. And somehow the fear of the cold disappeared. I kid you not. The fear of the cold vanished. And you get in, and it's only till the knee. Yeah. So once you're in the knee deep, you've actually got to dunk yourself. And I just did it. I got in, I settled myself within seconds, and I went and I did the dunk. And somebody said to me, you got to do it 5 times. So I did the dunk 5 times, and I felt energized. The whole body becomes cool, not cold. I wasn't freezing. It was very cold. Make no mistake. But I didn't feel that. I felt energized, and I didn't sleep for days. I felt so rejuvenated, energized, vibrant, alive, where you can feel the cells of your body. It's the most incredible, powerful feeling. Anyway, as I'm in the snan and I'm hanging out now, being very comfortable, I see a gentleman coming with like 20 cups, and I'm like, oh my god, like who the hell is this? Anyway, the cops kind of dissipate. There's photographers, and there's just me in the gut. And he comes in, and obviously he's a big deal. He's a VIP. Of course he is. But he comes with 20 cups. I had 2, and I was like, who is this? Anyway, so he comes in. He takes his mala, and he's doing his mala, and like I'm watching this, and I introduce myself, and I'm like, okay, so who are you? So I'm the police commissioner of Fairbrother. So I was like, well, good to meet you. I like this that you're doing with the mala. Can I borrow your mala? And he was so kind. He was so gracious. He gave me the mala, and that's the photos you see. Is the mala belonged to the police commissioner. And then he showed me how to, do the ghat and make the offerings, I guess. And I learned so much from him. And it was basically just him and I in the ghat doing our thing. And it was just, I got to relax. The only regret that I actually shouldn't have, but the only thing I'm saying that I didn't do is think about specifically in my head. So my heart was there, but in my head, I feel like I could have been more focused. I could have manifested. I could have spoken to the things that I wanted. But I think I've alleviated that by saying that being there is where the power lies. Being there and like doing the most of being a part of it all at the right time, during that blessed time, I feel is where the magic happened. And I really shouldn't berate myself for not being mentally there. But I have to tell you, getting into the boat and my team that was with me fed, gave some like, rice seeds, not rice seeds, like seeds, and all the most beautiful Iberian birds who do the migration came to the boat, came all around me. And that's really what my companion was from where I got dropped to my ghat. Those birds being my companion, I got into the moment. I was like, to be here, I felt so calm. I felt love. I felt peace. I felt one with the universe. I felt so like in my spirit, in my actually in my soul. I felt the soul being happy, being jubilant in this physical phase. I felt my soul's presence in myself. I felt being one with the universe as I was surrounded by these birds on this boat. And I think that paved the way for my snot. It eradicated the feeling of cold. It got me into the zone, and And I felt like, even though mentally I wasn't in that phase that I should be, my heart was there. My heart was there. My soul was there. It wasn't about academics. So, like, this experience is going to last forever. It's going to last the next 5 generations, the next 144 years. My soul will keep coming back and be happy and be jubilant and feel the peace and the calm. I really believe that. Right. Uh, like, despite of spiritual thing, you have your own professional life that is very, very profound to you, and you made like so many things, and you walked in various things as we had what to do in that part. So when you started your production, what was your first thought, and why you thought like I can start production, and what exactly kind of projects you are looking for? Well, it started with this legendary British filmmaker, John Irwin, and we met, at a dinner party in London, and he was telling me about stories. And he said, "Oh, you'd be perfect for a script that I had a long time ago." And as we started talking, he talked to me about a character that he had written and about a story he wanted to tell. Okay. And it really got me thinking that if here's a man who's thinking about me in a certain way and wanting to curate a story around me because he saw me in a specific way, it really kind of opened the door for me. Because if they can do that, why can't I? Right. I can start to put stories together that I want to be a part of. And the only way to do that is either hunt for filmmakers who are telling those stories or work with filmmakers who see you as those characters or put it together yourself. I kind of like the idea of putting it together myself. So that's how you started. Yeah. What next coming? Can you share? Oh my God, there's so much coming up. I've got the release of a 9-part reality show that I shot in India. Okay. I brought 5 superstars from Africa from myself. So myself and 4 other girls uh, from different parts of Africa, Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, and Ghana, and myself, of course, from South Africa. And we came to India. It was like a girly trip. I invited the gang. So, and there's the fascinating things in India. I mean, we did this really glam photo shoot. We went to the Golden Temple. We celebrated Holi, which was incredible. Again, Holi is coming. Again, Holi is coming. We celebrated Holi, and we hung out in Jodhpur. We were hosted by Bapchi in Udaipur, and we went to all the palaces. And it culminates with hanging out with Satguru in Coimbatore. So it's a really incredible girly trip that I put together. And yeah, it's like, you know, that that's something that was very special to my heart because it really is my life, right? Yeah. I invite people, I host people in India all the time, and people have their best India trips with me because, I have so many friends. I travel so extensively in India. I understand India, and so it makes me a perfect host. So we basically shot the show, and that's coming out soon. I'm also finalizing the last of my pre-production on 2 very big projects, real life lawyer. I have my book coming out. There's a lot. All the very best for that. Thank you. And in fact, I go back to South Africa next week, and on the 7th, I'm being awarded as the cultural ambassador between India and South Africa. Oh my, for all the work that I've done. Congratulations. Thank you for all the work I've done in building ties and relationships with these countries. How was the feeling when they announced that they are going to give you this award? What is the feeling? I'm like, it's about time. I'm so glad that they finally see, you're here. Look, I feel like God realized. I think they've always known the work, but possibly there wasn't a platform, right, to award me, to recognize me. But I'm just glad that it's finally happening right now. So now it's time to enjoy your life, like whatever work you have done. It's like that. Very, very congratulations and all the very best for your work also. Thank you. I feel like it's just the start. Like, I feel like so many things are falling into place. You know, you plant seeds and you plant seeds and you plant, yes, and then it starts to come to fruition. When you plan for your girls' trip, how did you think about it? So let's go and do the girls' trip. No, I was thinking about it as a producer. I really was. But the girls' trip was easy because I've done it so many times with my actual friends. Okay. In real life without cameras, you know? And I did it recently in Korea. I did it in Iran. I've done it all over the world because I'm a real girly girl, you know? And all my girlfriends are so like fascinating. I have like really kick-ass girls in my tribe. I have the most incredible girlfriends. You know, not only are they like beautiful and vivacious and iconic in the work that they do, but they're also loyal, you know, and they're kind and they're enterprising and ambitious and driven in the same way that I am. Yes. Just I feel blessed to have girls in my life that are the same as me, that value the same kind of hard work ethic that I do. So I love my girls, and I love that they can also just up and leave and go wherever I need them to go with me. You know, I'm doing Cannes now. All my girlfriends. I'll do Venice Film Festival with my girly gang. I'm doing stuff with my girls all the time. So, when you like swipe from psychology to entertainment industry, is this decision was hard for you? Somehow family pressure, something that you are leaving this profession and you're going to that kind of industry? Is no. I think my parents were they were very supportive. And I think that, I don't know, everyone is so involved in their own lives. You know, my father was in the thick of practicing medicine. He was very passionate golfer. You know, he had his life. And he was always the kind of man who let us children be who we are. There wasn't a lot of um, sort of by way of rules and by way of regulations. You know, I grew up at boarding school. We had that type of life. After boarding school, I lived with my grandmother for 2 years. And so it was very much, you know, my parents just kind of threw us into the deep end and you just figure it out. And I'm so glad because I was 16 when I came to Bombay to medical school, very young. And they were like, oh, here's a ticket, off you go. You know, they just kind of sent me. Oh, wow. So, like in 2022, a real life wife, a real housewife of Johannesburg. How was the experience? Like, it was a different kind of thing you are doing. It's definitely different because it's unscripted. But again, it's storytelling, you know? It's about the reality is that reality TV is such a popular genre. Right. If the Kardashians are the most famous family in the world, it's because of reality drama. Right. And so, you know, I always want to move with the times. I don't want to be static and I don't want to um, remain in some kind of mold. You must always remain fluid and always remain flexible. Like energy, you know, it's neither created nor destroyed. It just constantly changes form. And if you want to be relevant and if you want to stay with the times, you should know what's out there and be a part of it, you know? And I was just happy that they really didn't see the season and the cast without me. And they wooed me. I mean, they wooed me. They were like, Tarina, we're not doing the show without you. That's all, you know? And so it's also the biggest franchise of reality of the world. So how do you go wrong? It's an international franchise. It's a really popular genre. Yeah. And all I have to do is be myself. I mean, what any funny incident in between that? No, but I just realized that, you know, I'm not an aggressive, I'm not antagonistic by nature. I'm actually just very peace loving. I'm very solution oriented. I'm a big communicator. And I think if you just keep with those that mantra in life is that if there's a problem, you communicate it about it. You in a non-aggressive way and you solution oriented. If you have these qualities, you know, World leaders should have these qualities. If you want to be successful in life, if you want to be happy in life, these are the qualities you should aim to build, honestly. Because I feel like if you watch these shows, the women are aggressive. They don't communicate. They jump to conclusions. There's no healthy dynamic. And being on the show, I realized that, oh my God, there is such a thing as a toxic environment. The girls can be so vicious, and that's not who I am. I don't want to put myself in that space. And all the more now, I gravitate only towards good energy. That's really my benchmark in terms of who I engage with, how I spend my precious time, how I value my beautiful energy is to be in spaces like that.
So that you enjoyed, I guess.
Correct.
So you also worked in Bollywood with Akshay Kumar. How was the experience?
I mean, I knew him from before. Um, we'd shot commercials before. One of his best friends, if not his very best friend in the world, is a South African guy who's a friend of mine. So I think, yeah, it was like very family setup. Before I got into films, I've done close to 100 TV commercials. I've done commercials for every conceivable FMCG. And I'd worked with absolutely everyone, the best filmmakers, the best directors, the best production companies. It really set the standard very high for me. Um, so when I got into film and I was being pushed to get into film, I was getting offers all the time. And I feel like it was like a natural progression. And bear in mind, I was doing commercials and I had billboards all over India, and I was on, you couldn't put the TV on and not see me.
Right.
I was on magazine covers, I was opening fashion shows, I was doing music videos, I was hosting Lakme Fashion Week. I was just doing so much. And all this was happening while I was studying. I was at medical school while I was doing this. I was going to classes every day. I was writing exams.
Oh my God.
So, but when I finally got into film because of the pressure, come on, come on, come on, I felt like it was with family. Every film I'd done, I was familiar with everyone because I'd worked with them on TV commercials.
So it was easy for you.
It was easy.
And everything was effortless.
Everything was effortless.
They are very big prankers. As everybody knows, that off screen, they do so many pranks. Did anything happen to you?
I think that this is a lot of love. I feel like people were so protective over me. They were fascinated by the South African girl who would leave the most beautiful country in the world and come and hang out in India. I think that there was a lot of like confusion and fascination about that. So as a result of that, and I was this new girl from out of town, having those sweet, they were just really kind to me.
They did not do any prank or anything. Like, have you seen anything that you even like this time also, if you just memorize and you used to laugh? Any kind of memory on the set?
No, I remember being nervous because, I mean, Hindi is not my first language or second or third. It's my fourth language, right? So, like, being on set, they give you your dialogue like minutes before. They make changes minutes before. And they give it to you in Hindi text. So I can read Hindi. I'm very slow. I mean, I'm very slow. So I need a day to translate that and transcribe that into English written form. So I would quickly do that with the help of everyone. And then I had to learn those lines. Because when you're delivering a scene, there's so much pressure because you're aware that every second is so expensive. Right. And from a young age and early in my career, I realized that you've got to respect, every element, especially the producer on from the top to the bottom. You have to completely respect and understand every element if you want to truly get into the business. And so, you're so nerve wracked because you want to deliver this dialogue, but you're so concerned about the dialogue that you can't act. When you're acting in your own language, The language is secondary. It means to deliver your emotion. You act. But when you're in Hindi, all you're doing is focusing on the dialogue and you forget to act. You got this daze because you don't want to make it wrong, right? Exactly. Ah, I got through. There was a lot of patience, thank God. Still, you did it and did it very well. Thank you. Like when they say you in the screen, we cannot feel that you don't know Hindi. That's the big deal. So how do you feel? Is there any difference in between the South African industry and Indian film industry? What differences do you find out and what similarities are there? Look, I think the common factor is you on set. Yes. So wherever in the world I'm working, it could be the UK, the US, Nigeria. The point is that you're armed with a certain set of professional skills. Right. So everything's different. There's different crew, different cultures, different storytelling, different forms of storytelling, different genres. But the similarity has to be that common factor where you pitch up on time. Right. You're good to everybody on set. You come prepared. You work well with your glam squad, your wardrobe, your hair, your makeup. You know your lines, and you work with the team. There's going to be delays, deal with it. They're going to ask you things that you weren't expecting, deal with it. I feel like the common factor should be that. But of course, they're different. I mean, India is the biggest industry in the world. And there's a lot of good stuff that goes with it. There's a lot of shit that goes with it. Right. South Africa is a political industry. There's a lot of political aspects. They want to tell black stories with black cast. Nigeria, they love storytelling. They can make a 90-minute film in 3 days. Scary, but they make it in 5 days. Yeah. Oh my God. Because they're so committed. They're so passionate. It's like, do you have a house? Can we just quickly use your house? And it's charming in its own way, but they get things done. There's so much passion around storytelling. So I'm saying that every industry has something different, but it's really up to you. So what exactly the rudest thing ever you have experienced on set or off set? Honestly, like I learned this very young, that offense is taken and not given. And by that I mean you can choose to take the offense. People can say what they want to say, they can do what they want to say, they can do what they want to do, they can say what they want to say. Right. But it's up to you to accept it. And if you don't accept it, water off a duck's back. Doesn't affect you, it's their problem. And that's been my mantra. I mean, people are gonna do what they're gonna do. There's so much rivalry and competition and insecurity and ego on sets. You've got all these creative people. You've got 1,000 people on set, right? All of whom are ambitious, have slugged to get to that set, have done all kinds of things to get to that set. They want to stay there. They want to triumph while they're on set. So oftentimes you get caught in the crossfire. But if you just put your head down, smile, build a very thick skin and get on with the job, you'll be fine. And don't take offense, If you're going to be sensitive and so emotional about things being said and done, then that's not the right environment for you. Right. Rather, push your emotions and your sentiments into the character when you're delivering your scenes. That's what it is. So how do you feel about your journey and what exactly you think that what is left I want to do? What kind of feeling about your dreams and your passion? Well, this film I'm working on now, it's a real life story about an Indian man, okay, who was born in the 30s, who died tragically very young. But he's an unsung hero and an absolute legend that belongs to us, the Indian community in South Africa. I have the good fortune of being able to tell his story, and I want to take that to the Oscars. That's my dream. There are very few times in your lifetime that you'll get the opportunity, right, to tell such a story. And I'm so glad that early in my producing career, I've got the story. All the very, very best for that. Thank you. And it's very special to me. He was a golfer. My father was a golfer. I have a very big golfing family. All my cousins, my brothers, my uncles, We all play golf. Um, and, from a young age, I remember walking with my father on this particular golf course, which is named after him. His name is Papua Sugalam, and an absolute legend of a man. The most incredible story of resilience and bravery and courage, but also tragedy, because the Thai government deprived him of his due, deprived him of playing golf. So it's a beautiful story. I'm blessed, so grateful, so blessed to be able to have this opportunity. I'm too excited over your content. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I have higher writers. Yes. And I'm putting it together between India and South Africa.
Okay.
And this year we're celebrating 165 years of Indians in South Africa. Oh, wow, truly iconic. And they're announcing this film this year.
So that is wonderful, actually. So how did you find it that this is the story you want to do? Like,
That is the thing, like stories come into your mind. If you're always active, you're always aware, subliminally, you're always looking. And certain things just resonate with you. But this is personal because from a young age, I knew about the story through my father. And I feel like even in my father's death, he guides me. He's the one who's given me the story because he introduced me to golf. He introduced me to Papua Seagull.
right.
He took me to the Papua golf course. He told me the story. And it sat with me from a very, very young, impressionable, tender, sensitive age. And now that I'm able to, I'm telling the story.
So beautifully. We are actually waiting to, I can wait when it is going to release and we are going to watch. That will be experience. Because I never heard about it. Most of the heroes are just vanished somewhere because people are not telling the story.
Yeah.
So somehow you are bringing a story. We are really grateful that somehow wherever we are, our Indian heroes are there. We are bringing the stories out.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for that. So when it comes to stories and life and career and spiritual things, almost everything you are pursuing very effortlessly. What exactly you want to advise to the young generation to become like you and become effortless for everything?
I mean, I don't know if that's even true. It's not been easy. It's not been effortless. I've seen, with other people when things come so effortless and easy. And I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate, but everything that I have in my life, I work incredibly hard.
Yes.
I really do. I sacrifice. I'm really rooted in the things that I want to achieve. And it's fraught with a lot of pain, a lot of challenges, too many obstacles. I don't know why. When I pray for God to remove the obstacles. When I pray for things to actually be seamless and effortless. I pray that I can better enjoy my journey if it was a little easier. So, honestly, my life has been, and it continues to be, life full of, yes, it is, full of challenges. But I think what I do is I never give up. I never, ever, ever give up. Like I learned in India, no one says no to me or to anyone. I don't say no to me. And I'm blindly optimistic. This I cannot understand why. But I am so incredibly, blindly, rose tinted glasses, blindly optimistic.
And that's a beautiful thing, actually.
I always find the silver lining. And I think that ability to always be optimistic and always see the silver lining is what propels me to never give up and to keep at it. Oh my God, I knocked down that door, I knocked that door, I knocked that door, I knocked that door. And people are going to be like, oh my God, we better just give it to her because she's just not going to leave us.
You have no retirement plans in life, right? Keep working.
I will work until the day I die.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Work and be productive and make my life count. And breath is such a pleasure and it's such a gift from God. Yeah, to have breath. Something which is an involuntary action which we all take for granted. But the reason why it's so important to me is my father ran out of breath. He had a lung condition where he ran out of breath. So I want to make breath count. I want to maximize the gift that God has given of breath. So long as I can breathe, I want to do good. I want to impact the world. I want to enjoy the gift of life. And I want to share to my fellow humanitarians, to my fellow humans, to my fellow brothers and sisters. I want to do good. And I make it a, a deal with myself that every single day I counsel friends of mine in need. I help, I mentor, I add service, I add value in somebody's life every single day. Yes, Hira. So have you ever imagined if you're not actress, producer, host, or in psychology career, what exactly you can be like? Have you ever imagined I can be this too? Like any another career aspect, I could be the president of my country. Oh, that's wonderful. I could be the president of my country. I really could. Yes, you are. Yeah. Hope so one day we will see that too. Namaste to that. And we will come then for the free visit. Yes, for the inauguration, right? Yes, of course. We're going for your oath taking ceremony. There we go. That is the point. Okay, so after this wonderful interview, we are going to play a 10 words game. So I'm going to take a word so you can connect it with your friend, family, or any celebrity and can explain why you have taken this. So the first word is courageous. Is courageous. My father. Courageous for absolutely putting his life in my hands when we came to India to undergo a lung transplant. The epitome of courage. Just to go blindly with your daughter to a foreign country and trust her implicitly. So he did that. Playful. Oh my gosh. Oh, my little niece, Amara. Hi. And my little niece, Mila. I've got two nieces, two nephews. But particularly Mila. She's the cutest little thing. So playful, so naughty. I call her Masti. Okay, Masti. She's adorable. Fearless. Fearless, I would say me. Completely fearless. I was born that way. Somewhere along the line, I stopped being fearless, but I got it back. I'm now fearless. I got it back. That's great. Loyal. Loyal. As loyal as a dog, right? Yeah. I have a couple of dogs that I know. Incredibly loyal. Yes, it's true what they say. So you are enjoying with them? Yes. Very much. When you are far, what they're doing then? Wow. Being loyal to me. Unstoppable. Um, I just want to inform you that you cannot take your name again. Okay. Wow, because all of them seem to point to qualities I think I have. Yes, you have. Oh, yeah, the force of progress is unstoppable. The force of progress is inevitable and unstoppable. But you have to take somebody's name. Somebody's name. Mother Universe. Oh my god, that's beautiful actually. You are so smart, you know? Generous. Generous to a fault. My late friend Harpal, who died tragically, was heartbreaking, heartbreaking. Such a beautiful friend, one of my soulmates, but generous to a fault with everything, with his time, with his networks, with his advice, with his counsel. Truly missed, truly missed. Spontaneous. Spontaneous? Oof. My gosh, I have friends like that. Yeah. Take anyone's name. My girlfriend Abida. I will call her and I'm like, babe, let's just go to this wedding in Abu Dhabi. She's like, I'm packing the bags, let's go. She's always ready. She's always ready. Always ready to party. Oh wow. Mysterious. I have a lot of those friends also. Lots of mysterious. I think it's like part of their charm and their sex appeal. Or maybe they name them just being secretive. I don't know. One of the two. So then mysterious. Anyone's name. Some of this one girlfriend of mine, Maya. Very mysterious. Very mysterious. Charming. Oh my god, all my friends. So charming. So charming. My girlfriend Hedi. So charming. So charming. So beautiful. Visionary. A visionary? Yes. Um, I have a really good friend called Wei Xing, a Chinese gentleman. Brilliant, brilliant beyond, but a visionary in the most beautiful way because he's got a strong humanitarian side to him. So, a real visionary with heart. Thank you so much for your time. And seriously, I didn't feel that how long I sat with you. It was wonderful. I know. Hi, you're watching Tarina Patel on OWN Star Chronicles. I hope you enjoy.